All right, so hopefully everyone can hear me. We're having some audio issues, but we're gonna go ahead and get started. All right. All meetings are to be opened and closed promptly according to the Circle 7 and love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. If you are able to, please rise and face the east for the Moorish American prayer. Stand up straight, put your feet at a 45-degree angle. Have your feet together. Hold up 2 fingers on the right and 5 on the left. Allah, Father of the universe.
Allah, Father of the universe.
Father of love.
Father of love.
Truth. Peace. Freedom.
Peace.
Freedom.
And justice. Allah is my protector. My guide. And my salvation. By night and by day. Through his holy prophet. Drew Ali. All right, amen. Islamism.
Islam.
All right, Islam, I want to announce that the meeting is now open. First and foremost, we always rise and give the highest praise to the Most High, the creator of the universe, Allah. We give honors to our illustrious prophet, Noble Drew Ali, for returning us to our divine creed and nationality. We also give honors to our brother, Marcus Mosiah Garvey, for preparing the way for the prophet, modern day John the Baptist. We give honors to all the 8 sheiks and all the faithful Moors that make up the grand body of the Moorish divine and national movement. We also give honors to the first appointed Supreme Grand Sheikh by Prophet Noble Drew Ali, and that's our brother, Edward Mealy Ill. We also give honors to the current Supreme Grand Sheikh, Brother Keith Dandridgel, and honors to the Grand Council of the Moorish Science Temple of America. Islamism. Brother Jackson Bey, will you please read the Divine Constitution and Bylaws?
Islam, I rise giving perfect praise to Allah, the Father of the universe, and honors to his prophet, Noble Drew Ali. Honors to you Muslims. Salvation, Allah, unity, the Moral Science Temple of America, the Divine Bylaws. Pardon me. 1. The Grand Sheikh and the Chairman of the Moorish America is empowered to make force law with the assistance of the Prophet, Grand Body of the Moorish Science Temple of America. The Assistant Grand Sheikh is to assist the Grand Sheikh in all affairs if he lives according to love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice, and it is known before the members of the Moorish Science Temple of America. Act 2. All meetings are to be open and closed promptly according to the Circle 7 and love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Friday is our holy day of rest because on a Friday, the first man was formed in flesh, and on a Friday, the first man departed out of flesh and ascended unto his Father God Allah. For that cause, Friday is the holy day for all Muslims all over the world. Act 3. Love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice must be proclaimed and practiced by all members of the Moorish Science Temple of America. No member is to put in danger or accuse falsely his brother or sister on any occasion at all that may harm his brother or sister, because Allah is love. Act 4. All members must preserve these holy and divine laws, and all members must obey the laws of the government, because by being a Moorish American, you are part and parcel of the government and must live the life accordingly. Act 5. This organization of the Moorish Science Temple of America is not to cause any confusion or to overthrow the laws and constitution of the said government, but to obey hereby. Act 6. With us, all members must proclaim their nationality, and we are teaching our people their nationality and their divine creed, that they may know that they are part and parcel of this said government, and know that they are not Negroes, colored folks, black people, or Ethiopians, because these names were given to slaves by slaveholders in 1779 and lasted until 1865 during the time of slavery. But this is a new era of time now, and all men now must proclaim their free national name to be recognized by the government in which they live and the nations of the earth. This is the reason why Allah, the great God of the universe, ordained Nabi Ali, the prophet, to redeem his people from their sinful ways. The North Americans are the descendants of the ancient Moabites who inhabited the northwestern and southwestern shores of Africa. Act 7. All members must promptly attend their meetings and become part and parcel of all uplifting acts of Moorish Science Temple of America. Members must pay their dues and keep in line with all necessities of the Moorish Science Temple of America. You are entitled to the name of faithful. Husband, you must support your wife and children. Wife, you must obey your husband and take care of your children and look after the duties of your household. Sons and daughters must obey father and mother and be industrious and become part of the uplifting of fallen humanity. All Moorish Americans must keep their hearts and minds pure with love and their bodies clean with water. This divine covenant is from your holy prophet, Nabi Ali, through the guidance of his father, God Allah, Nabi Ali, founder. Moorish American prayer, Allah, the Father of the universe, the Father of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Allah is my protector, my guide, and my salvation by night and by day through his holy prophet, Drew Ali. Amen. The Moorish Science Temple of America, home office of Noble Drew Ali, home office, Chicago, Illinois, USA. Islamism. Happy Holy Day, my
Islamism. All right, thank you, brother. Okay, peace. Gonna try to do this. I know the connection is breaking up, but we're doing chapter 9 from the Holy Quran today. Hang on, I'm gonna pull that up on the screen for you. Okay, we're better now? Okay.
Islam seems better.
All right, good. All right. Okay, Islam Wars. If you have any questions, of course, or any observations, anything you wanted to mention, just feel free to speak up. Feel you can unmute your phone. It's all right. If you have if you have any observations, anything you want to speak on, any questions, we're doing chapter 9. Jesus attends a feast in Bahar, and here he taught human equality. And just remember, keep in mind the first the first 17 chapters, or chapters 2 through 19, is focusing on the life works of the prophet Jesus. This was deemed necessary for the awakening of our people. These keys, these measures were being, you could say, they were kept from the world, right? They weren't included in the Bible. The people didn't know about, the first almost 20 something years of Jesus' life. This was just, missing. So we have these keys because it's important to our spiritual awakening, and because it reveals the kingdom of heaven within, or your connection to Allah and man, spirit man, right? And this is in the beginning of our Holy Quran, right? Because, with great power comes great responsibility. So we have to master self first, right? And that's also in the front of the Quran. You'll see that right in the beginning. Know thyself and you'll know Allah. We have to master self so that all of our endeavors will be done in righteousness, and so that we can truly be successful and prosperous. Okay? And so it's important for us to master this. before we really go in here, I'll just speak on like 9, just from a metaphysical perspective really quickly to see if we can, if this gives us better insight on what's being spoken on in this chapter. Because remember, nothing's being done just by chance, okay? And when you're looking at 9, probably you've heard this before, but 9 represents completion, attainment, realization, and the end of a cycle. Okay, so every end is the seed of a fresh beginning. In the Bible, in Matthew 27:46, it says, "The ninth hour Jesus cried," and then at the ninth hour I prayed. That's in Acts 10:30. So from a psychological perspective, that 9 means a new birth in God. Okay, and that's where your intellect is getting illumination from. The woman gives birth in what month? Right? 9th month. We give birth to God's wisdom, truth, and beauty, all right, in this similar fashion. 9 also means the fulfillment of a certain goal in your life. All right, so these are measures that we can take away from it. It's a way of looking at this where it pertains to you in the here and now. Okay, and so that's a way to gain insight or power from reading this. So going in here, verse 1, the fame of Jesus as a teacher spread through all the land, and people came from near and far to hear his words of truth. At Bihar, on the sacred river of the Brahms, he taught for many days. All right, so Jesus is still in this region in where we call modern day India. At Aksh, a wealthy man of Bihar made a feast in his honor, and he invited everyone to come. And many came, among them thieves, extortioners, and courtesans. And Jesus sat with them and taught, but they who followed him were much aggrieved because he sat with thieves and courtesans. But remember, Jesus is from Nazareth, so this is where he's supposed to be comfortable, right? Because they said about Nazareth, nothing good ever came out of Nazareth. The people from Nazareth are despicable, you know? And here we have the person who realized God in man, you know, coming out of this area, and he's teaching this to the world, and he's sitting with the, you know, doctors of law and all the spiritual leaders, and they're all sitting at his feet learning. All right. Okay, so once again, some of the other guests were upset because Jesus is here sitting with the thieves. All right. And they upbraided him. They said, "Rabboni, master of the wise, this day will be an evil day for you. The news will spread that you consort with courtesans, and men will shun you as they shun an asp." And Jesus answered them and said, "A master never screens himself for sake of reputation or of fame. These are but worthless baubles of the day. They arise and sink like empty bottles on a stream. They are illusions and will pass away. They are the indices to what the thoughtless think. They're the noise that people make, and shallow men judge merit by the noise. Allah and all master men judge men by what they are and not by what they seem to be, not by their reputation and their fame. These courtesans and thieves are children of my Father Allah. Their soul are just as precious in his sight as yours or the Brahmic priests, and they're working out the same life sums that you have solved, you men who look at them with scorn. And some of them have solved much harder sums than you have solved, you men who look at them with scorn. Yes, they are sinners and confess their guilt while you are guilty, but are shrewd enough to have a polished coat to cover up your guilt. Suppose you men who scorn the courtesans, these drunkards and these thieves, who know that you are pure in heart and life, that you are better far than they, stand forth that men know just who you are. The sin lies in the wish and the desire, not in the act. You covet other people's wealth, you look at charming forms, and deep within your hearts you lust for them. Deceit you practice every day and wish for gold, for honor, and for fame. just for your selfish selves. The man who covets is a thief, and she who lusts is a courtesan. You who are none of these, speak out. Nobody spoke. The accusers held their peace. And Jesus said, the proof this day is all against those who have accused. The pure in heart do not accuse. The vile in heart, who want to cover up their guilt with holy smoke of piety, are ever loathing, drunkard, thief, and courtesans. This loathing and this scorn is mockery. For if the tinseled coat of reputation could be torn away, the loud professor would be found to revel in his lust, deceit, and many forms of secret sin. The man who spends his time in pulling other people's weeds can have no time to pull his own, and all the choicest flowers of life will soon be choked and die, and nothing will remain but darnel thistles and burrs. And Jesus spoke a parable. He said, behold, a farmer had great fields of ripened grain, and when he looked, he saw the blades of many stalks of wheat were bent and broken down. And when he sent his reapers forth, he said, we will not save the stalks of wheat that have broken blades. Go forth and cut and burn the stalks with broken blades. And after many days, he went to measure up his grain, but not a kernel could he find. And then he called the harvesters and said to them, where is my grain? They answered him and said, we did according to your word. We gathered up and burned the stalks with broken blades. Not a stalk was left to carry to the barn. And Jesus said, if Allah only saves those who have no broken blades, who have been perfected in his sight, who will be saved? And the accusers hung their heads in shame, and Jesus went his way. Islamism. Yeah, that measure is pretty straightforward. Remember Jesus' life, his whole life is giving us the roadblocks, not the roadblocks, but the roadmap, right? The example on how to carry ourselves and how to conduct ourselves, and also the potential that we have to do even greater things. Okay. And he had to come from a place where the people were despised, where nothing good was supposed to come out of, and to be able to rise and accomplish these things. So, that measure is powerful, of course, to keep in mind. Does anyone else have anything they want to add to that?
Praise Allah. I just want to add that, like to agree what you said, to add on what you said, Jesus shows us the way on how to carry ourselves, and, especially out here giving the knowledge and trying to wake people up and bring them on the shores, and out of the kids of the world, we gotta be good swimmers. So we gotta swim with the best of them and the worst of them. You know what I mean? So like he shows you the feast. He went to the feast, but went to the lowest people. Like people from the Nazareth, the hood. You feel me? The lowest. You know what I mean? And he's trying to bring it to them, and it just brings to mind. When I was on the call, and the Supreme Grand Sheikh said, I want y'all to take this information to the churches, to the people that don't know, that's not woke and stuff like that. So this is the part when he says these thieves and courtesans and extortionists, they need to know the information, and then when you get with them, you get with some of the people at the bottom, and you sit and have conversations with them. These be the purest in heart, more pure than some of the priests or the imams, dependent. So that's what I took from the measure of
Islam, that's true. I'm glad you said that too. I mean, we see that, like you were saying, with, if we were only talking to each other or people who are already into this information, it would be pointless. We need to take this to the community, the greater community, not just people who are so-called conscious or who already know this stuff, but maybe aren't even doing anything with it, right? Who acting like they're superior or above, the rest of the people because they have a little knowledge or know something that other people don't. So yeah, like definitely, I agree with you on that. Does anybody else have any questions or anything they wanted to add?
Peace. Islam.
Islam.
All right. Yeah, actually, one thing I just wanted to touch on that really like resonated with me was was the key that was talking about the sin, you know what I'm saying, lies within the wish and the desire, not necessarily the act. You know what I'm saying? I was actually talking to somebody, you know what I'm saying, one of the 'cause I work in the prison system, so I was actually talking to one of the inmates and stuff like that about that, because he's a 5%er. And we were just pretty much briefly breaking down actually something that was I believe was like a holy instruction, like I don't know if it's for the children, I forgot which one it was, but to connect that line with the last key in that particular chapter, when it was talking about teach him science and his life shall be useful, teach him religion and his death shall be happy. That just pretty much like what I was basically explaining to him. I said a lot of times what happens is people focus strictly on the science. You see what I'm saying? And want like the complex, sophisticated lessons and things like that, but they lack compassion for people at the end of the day. You know what I'm saying? They take more pride and value and understanding something that might be a little bit more complex. You see what I'm saying? As far as like the lessons and stuff like that is concerned, but they don't but they still lack like the love for themselves and a lack of understanding. It's like they got it, but they don't get it. So bringing it back to that point or whatever, as I was explaining to him, you know what I'm saying, like, over time, I just learned to accept and definitely love people, you know what I'm saying, even though they don't necessarily share the same ideology as me, like, as you know what I'm saying, as mine, you know what I'm saying, I just, you know what I'm saying, learn to just accept them for who they are and their intentions behind, you know what I'm saying, the things that they're saying, you know what I'm saying, and the things that they're doing, even if they might be coming from like a Christian background, a Judaism, a Judaic background, or you know what I'm saying, or a Catholic background. It doesn't really make a difference, you know what I'm saying, because people are just going to go, you know what I'm saying, and gravitate towards things that make the most sense to them. And I think a lot of times us as people, we tend to focus on like the wrong things. We tend to focus on the differences instead of the similarities, and that a lot of times holds us stagnant from actually getting progress done. So me, I'm pretty much at the point where I'm gonna wrap this up. I'm pretty much at the point in life right now to where it's like, you know what I mean, I'm not even really trying to convert people anymore, you know what I'm saying, or try to like push anything on them, you know what I'm saying. If they ask, I'll tell them, you know what I'm saying, or I might like try to like, plant like a seed or spark something in a conversation. But other than that, I think that that's definitely like a cool lesson, you know what I'm saying, to gravitate towards when it comes time to actually like, bringing unity amongst our people and actually making progress with people who might not necessarily be on the same frequency as ourselves. And but that was pretty much it, though.
Islam. And like when you look at the Jewish community, um they don't convert people. They try, if you like wanted to convert to Judaism or whatever, they would try to talk you out of it. They have like a process where you're sitting with the rabbis and they're grilling you. They're trying to dissuade, sway you from it, right? So they're not out there recruiting and trying to get people on. So that's, yeah, like we don't need to do that either. We really just need to focus on strengthening what we have. Building, our own community and building ourselves up. That's the most important thing. That line you were saying, the sin lies in the wish, in the desire, not in the act. We know all is mine, right? And if all is mine and thoughts are things, these are all like books. If thoughts are things, thoughts are real, then in the sin really does lie in the wish or in the desire, because whatever we're giving our thoughts to, some type of energy is being given to that, and it's gonna manifest in the physical, and in other dimensions in some form. All right. And so this is trying to get us to raise up our thoughts ultimately. And yeah, not to misuse this to like kind of what you could take from what Jesus, this discussion he's having, not to take this information to act like you're higher up than someone else. Like you were saying, if people want to feel like they have access to information that's uncommon and most people don't have, it's not to act like we're higher up or you're superior to anyone, right? This is for self-improvement, to help realize God within. And what does it say in the Holy Quran? In the beginning, it lets us know that ultimately all men will do this. This is this is the path that all of us are on. So whether they do it here or in another realm, eventually all of us will realize God within. So there's no one to look down on or to feel like anyone is superior to, you know, from that perspective. And yeah, this information is not for people to walk around feeling like, you know, we're better than, or this gives us some other reason to discriminate against people or something like that. That's taking it, you know, straight to the lower self, and no better than the people that looking down on. But yeah, does anybody else have any questions or anything they wanted to add or ask? All right, if not, we're gonna go ahead and move forward.
Islam. Arise, give praise to Allah, honor to his prophet, all honors to all you Moors and his descendants. I want to say again, everybody wasn't in the room when I announced that I had sent out some emails, and everybody who's in the group chat, please check those and respond. The last email I sent was about a group project where everyone will be learning how to chair a meeting for next month. And also, we're going to try to schedule a physical meeting at the end of the month. Islam?
All right, Islam, and also she was saying you could just type your skills in the Facebook chat. You don't have to send a whole resume. You can just, you know, keep it simple and just type them in there.
Islam, because I only got seven responses for everyone's professions and skills, and we have like 10 more people, 10 more members who haven't sent in anything. So just be sure to do that. And anybody who has resumes, also send that. And if you need help building one, I recommend everybody have an updated resume, not just for this, but, you know, to have just in case. Islam?
All right, Islam. I think everybody on the calls already heard or seen us talk about the strategy for the census. Am I correct? Has everybody already heard this information before?
Islam.
All right.
Islam, say it again. Never get tired.
All right, I'll go through this real quickly. Okay, so just once again, just so everybody knows, we've been advising people to, on the census form, where you see this on the screen, where it asks for race, no matter what, check the box that says some other race and write in Asiatic Moorish. Okay, we have to define ourselves by checking checking that box, writing in Asiatic Moorish. This is tying you in, or this is you defining yourself as the ancient Moabites, okay? Whose kingdom, you know, from our perspective, expanded in various places across the globe, okay? This is not going to cause any confusion. The leadership within the Moorish Science Temple of America has spoken with the directors from some different directors from the census on more than one occasion. I know one occasion the Supreme Grand Sheikh was showing these same slides to a sister, who Asiatic woman, was the director there for the U.S. Census, and she wanted to join. You know, after him explaining everything and why we're doing this, it's not causing any problems or anything. So there's no like really any reason why anyone would not do it if you're a so-called Black person, and also so-called Hispanics as well, but you know, specifically speaking to us. And then since most of us have this oral history of also being indigenous to the Americas, I advise you to click that box that says American Indian, write in the word more, that code more, MOOR. So all you have to do, that race code ties you into several tribes throughout the Americas. So it doesn't matter really what one tribe, you know, or other, you know, whatever tribe your family history will be. This connects all of that. Okay. Um, just advising everyone to do that, and we will put in work, you know, as time goes on, to follow up on this, to make sure it's understood that we, as the Moorish Science Temple of America, represent our people. And this is just one step, one thing that we need to do as a collective, all right, to assert ourselves locally and nationally. Just in case anyone is confused as to why we're doing that, there's several laws. One of the laws in here, it's just giving an example, it's Negro Law, Negro Act. This law was signed into play in 1740 in South Carolina. And if you see in here, it's just defining the so-called Negro as the term Negro is confined to slave Africans, the ancient Berbers and their descendants. It does not embrace the free inhabitants of Africa, such as the Egyptians, Moors, or the Negro Asiatics, such as the Lascars. Lascars would be talking about like the dark-skinned Hindu people, Indian people. Okay, and so this is just one example, but you had all these black codes, you had the Jim Crow laws, and all of these things were defining, well, no, not defining, all of these things were just keeping the so-called black person, the so-called colored person, in a status where they were less than human, where they didn't really descend from any real actual people with the civilization capable of governing themselves. Some people would try to say that that stuff's outdated, but we can see that it's not, because the stuff is still hidden in the language that the government uses, like the Federal Directive 15, where they use to define the races. This isn't just for the census. This thing that's up on the screen, we're showing the different race categories. This is used for several purposes. And why is black the only thing on here? It's not from an original people somewhere in the world. Black comes from a black racial groups of Africa. It's ridiculous. It's a slap in the face. So everybody should want to define themselves. And by being a Moor, you're tying yourself back into the creators of civilization. All of this is based off of us, you know, not knowing who we are. And this is why we still suffer. And it's also why it's funny, you see that some of you may have seen the thing today where Joe Biden, I guess yesterday or earlier today, he was being interviewed by the guy Charlemagne, the guy, and he, you know, kind of tried to do a decent job, actually giving him some questions that weren't super easy for him, because they always give him some fluff where it's really there's not really any difficult questions or anything that's hard for them to answer. He kind of did a decent job asking them questions, and he was basically asserting that, hey, we need to get something in return for voting for you. We're not just voting for you just because, you know, this is the way they do our people. We participate in this too, but they can shame you for not voting Democrat, regardless of who's running, right? And so, you know, and he was, I mean, the guy, Charlemagne, the guy wasn't even really grilling him that hard, because he was saying stuff like, well, black people want a black woman as a running mate, you know, which doesn't even matter. That does nothing for us, right? But anyway, these are the type of things he was saying. And the guy, Joe Biden, in case you didn't hear it, he says, basically, you're not black if you want to vote for Trump. That was his answer to him. You know, he's like, look, if you don't vote for me, if you don't vote for the Democrats, you're not really black. You know, trying to like shame people. And it's crazy. And he, you know, he kind of slipped up. I don't know if he's, you know, if he's all there in the head or something, because that was really stupid of him to say, but he said it. And then right after that, Charlemagne tried to say that I'm not just going to support somebody just because, you know, we need something in turn for it. And so Biden tries to say that some of the things he's done for us is he renewed our rights to vote for 25 more years. He actually said this. He said this out his mouth. Okay? That he renewed our rights to vote for 25 more years. And this was his comeback of saying all the stuff that he's done for us. Okay? And so, you know, nobody's really gonna dig deeper into that, because just by him announcing that's ridiculous. That is shameful. That's ignorant. No one else in America has to have their rights to vote renewed every 25 years. Everyone else is covered by the Constitution. And that's a problem. And so I'm sure there's a lot of people they wouldn't even allow to interview Biden or any of these other people, because they don't want anyone bringing that up and being real and critical about that. The very issue, the fact that our rights to vote have to be renewed, that is a serious problem. And we could pause all that other stupid mess that was being said and just focus on that. You need to explain that. Why are our rights to vote being up for renewal? Okay? And that's what I'm saying. Like, you know, they don't want to talk to more about it, because, I mean, it's going to be over. The cat will be out the bag. So this is what, you know, just one of the things going into play with the census. Okay, we're not black. Black is something they created that's just out here floating around. It's undesirable. It's here to get abused and misused. And they have to renew our rights to vote every 25 years. Just like there's nothing really that we could do from that status about the gunning, you know, down innocent people every now and then. They're going to take one of us out. So we have to do this. There's really no choice. And not saying it's like we have to force this on people who's not even trying to hear it. But I'm just saying there's no other choice, you know, if you want to be in position of power. And so and I just wanted to share that because it just happened. And that's Islam.
I just want to say, like, that's crazy that black the people that identify as black don't feel like little children. Like, what you mean you gotta give me the, like, and that just shows where the mass majority of our you know what I mean, of our people at. And they label, and then when you don't got an identity, guess what you do? You become a courtesan, a thief, an extortionist, and all of that. You know what I mean? That's just crazy when they gonna let that slide over their head. You know what I mean? Everybody mad, battling over, what you mean? I'm black enough. Like, what? Hey, we got that, you feel me? Instead of what you just said, the 25, they allowing a lot in us a right, a God-given right. You know what I mean? And, you know, Islam. That's what.
Islam, brother, like, definitely, man. I mean, you know, it makes no sense. And I don't know why the people, you know, aren't thinking on that level, you know, because it's crazy. I mean, like, that little thing that he was saying when he's listing all the things he's done for us, that went over a lot of people's heads, you know? And I mean, I'll play this really quickly if we can, just for the people who may not have seen it. But that little slip, you know, will go past a lot of people, and they're focusing on the fact, because he messed up a lot, okay? But the media is going to focus on the whole "you ain't black" thing, because that reinforces that we're black. You know, a slave label, basically. But they're going to skip over his whole little thing about us having to get our rights to vote renewed. That's ridiculous. Like, that's insane.
Here, Trump, and you ain't black.
Okay, so right after that, you know, he made Charlemagne made a little comment about how he's not just going to blindly support people. He wants something in return for his community. And then he starts listing his things he's done. He's, well, you know, I renewed your right to vote for 25 more years. He actually said that. They're not going to play that part. Okay, this is on from CNN. They're not even going to play that part.
It's a long way until November. We got more questions.
You got more questions, but I tell you, if you have a problem figuring out whether you're for me or Trump, and you ain't black.
It don't have nothing to do with Trump. It has to do with the fact I want something for my community. I would love to see.
Take a look at my record, man.
Okay, so they cut from that. he's telling this record, and that's ridiculous. You know, he actually said out his mouth that whole thing about our rights to vote being renewed. And that's what he's done for us. You know, so we can thank Massa for giving us 25 more years to vote. But I'm saying like that's ridiculous. And they didn't even play that on this little replay on CNN. Okay? Because they don't want anyone thinking outside the box and saying, hey, wait, hold up, what's that other part about? Because that's crazy. That's insane. And I wish I could find that little clip where he said that again, but that's insane. Okay? It really is. And you know, I mean, the whole little "you ain't black if you don't vote for me," that's funny. I'm glad he said it, because hopefully that'll make some of the people who go along with this stuff feel stupid about the fact that they just blindly support the Democrats. But forget all that. You know, he slipped up because they don't really talk about that. All right? The whole rights to vote being up for renewal. They don't. Okay? Let me tell you something. In the 1920s, when the Prophet Noble Drew Ali, the Moorish Science Temple of America, was heavily active, they were voting. They were putting people in the office. You want to know what else was going on in that time? Jim Crow laws. Our people in various states, doesn't matter whether it's the South or North, could not vote. All right? They were dealing with a lot. It was hell on our people in many cases. But in these areas where you had a lot of Moorish Americans, they were actively voting. They were putting people in office, and they had power because they're voting as a unit. And so the governor would be coming to the Prophet to offer, you know, to negotiate in exchange for their support. And this was happening in the 20s. And I'm not saying it's to focus on the past and it's stuck in the past. I'm just saying that this could be done then and it could be done now. This stuff that the people are doing, it's not working. They've been doing this for a long time, and it's not gonna work. It's ridiculous. You know, that people should be tired of it. All right. I don't know why they're not, but I'm just sharing that to say that, you know, that stuff's not gonna work. It's played out, it's tired, and it's time for something new. We actually have everything that we need to make this work. But yeah, and I'm really not surprised that CNN cut that little part out though, because that was really ridiculous. Let me see. Yeah, so if anybody hasn't seen this, I'm gonna play this clip real quick. I think this is the full clip that I was trying to play.
Thanks so much. That's really our time. I apologize.
You can't do that to black media.
I can't do that to white media and black media because my wife has to go on at 6 o'clock.
Okay.
Oh, I'm in trouble.
Listen, you got to come see us when you come to New York, VP Biden.
I will.
It's a long way until November. We got more questions.
You got more questions, but I tell you, if you have a problem figuring out whether you're for me or Trump and you ain't black,
it don't have nothing to do with Trump. It has to do with the fact I want something for my community. I would love to see.
Take a look at my record, man. I extended the voting rights 25 years. I have a record that is second to none. The NAACP's endorsed me every time I've run. I mean, come on. Take a look at the record.
Okay, so yeah, all that stuff he was saying was, you know, was trash. Okay, and he said he extended the voting rights another 25 years. So most people could hear that and still not know what he's talking about. He's talking about he extended the rights for blacks to vote another 25 years. And that's a slap in the face. It's ignorant. It's time for us to stop going along with this. And, you know, we have to show, we have to live the example, because a lot of people still aren't ready for this. So we're just going to have to do it. And even in the 20s, this didn't apply to us. Moorish Americans were voting irregardless to all of these things that are going on. Okay? And so it might be hard for some of us to believe that, you know, just by being Moorish Americans, the whole issues with police killing our people and all of that stuff will go away. But I'm not saying that there's no work that will have to be done, but it will go away. And it can go away. And that's the only way it can go away, It won't go away if we're continuing to go by this label that was created specifically to abuse us, specifically to keep us in this servile position, right? So we have everything that we need to make it happen. If anyone has any questions, though, I see a couple people just joined. If anyone has any questions, feel free to speak up. All right. Also, wanted to ask Carrie Bay, where are you calling from? We got it. Okay. Okay, we got you. So yeah, that's it. I did want to speak on that current event since that just happened. Hopefully this can wake some people up. But yeah, if anyone has anything before we go into closing, anything you want to share or add, feel free to speak now.
Islam. So yeah, I was wondering, since you just played that, I was looking it up as you were speaking. Did have you all seen he has since issued an apology and things like that, and talking about how he like he wasn't taking our vote for granted. He was actually pointing out the fact that he needs our vote to win and stuff like that. I was just wondering, has anybody else seen that?
Yeah, he didn't know he was going to get backlash for saying that. I mean, I don't know why, but he I guess, I don't know. I don't know why he didn't think backlash was going to
Islam,
happen. They always
I
try to
don't
bug
know.
back.
Right.
Islam, they usually like to test the so-called African American Black community to see who's paying attention and what you know, because there's so many distractions, especially with our young people. If it wasn't for Charlemagne doing that interview, for real, our community wouldn't even, be thinking about the presidential election. Wouldn't even be thinking about, what was said in any type of seriousness. So this stuff is bringing awareness, and they underestimate our people, but they also know that there's a lot of us in consciousness who is paying attention, who are going to speak up, but they know it's not enough. So they like to test to see who's woke and who ain't. And they know they could say anything and then issue an apology, and everybody in our community that been voting for Democrat is going to keep voting for Democrat.
Yeah, it's crazy. I've seen some people, it seem like they're about to explode because they don't know what to do. Like, they hear that and they're smart, so they know that what he said was stupid and wrong, but they don't feel like they have any other choice. So they don't know what to do, and it's crazy. But what I say, this is something that's always happened. In 2015 and 16, when Hillary Clinton was campaigning for president, some of her past comments came back to haunt her, because back in the days when her husband had signed some bills basically into law that were aimed specifically at young African Americans, so-called African Americans. And it was aimed at huddling them into prisons for grown-ups, and giving them long sentences, right? And she was speaking on it, supporting them, and she basically called young African American youth super predators. And that was her wording. And she's trying to say, well, gang youth. And she actually said young, African American teens. And she called them super predators. All right. Yeah, for the crime bill of 1994. So to help, make the case for why this needs to be done, we have to lock these super predators up. They're not regular criminals. These young, scary African Americans, they're dangerous. And she was just making the case, and that came back kind of to haunt her when she was running for president. You got all the Black Lives Matter stuff's going on, right? While Obama's in office, they're killing our people. Everybody's all upset. So some of the people tried to get her to apologize for that, and she walked it back a little bit. She said today I wouldn't have said that. I wouldn't have said it like that. You know, which basically isn't an apology. She's just saying I would have worded it differently if, you know, than I did back then, because she wouldn't be able to get away with it right now. And so, you know, that was crazy. And the people still support that mess, right? They didn't really take her to task on that. And that's what, you know, a lot of our people are at mentally still, okay? Well, we can't worry about that. We know better, so we have to work together as a collective to use our might. One of the things that we need to do, we do need to have a voting block and vote in unison together. The prophet said that we have to cast the sacred ballot. What did he say in Moorish literature? I'm going to share this real quick. Political slavery. Anytime a man or woman fails or refuses to cast a sacred ballot at the polls, they separate themselves from all rights of an American citizen. But surely this is the one connecting medium for a citizen to his nation. Remember, we keep the prophet out front, so I wanted to share this. We have to cast the sacred ballot. This is where our power is, or one of the ways our power is. We choose the people, you know, that are supposed to rule society on our behalf, okay? Or, you know, they're supposed to be civil servants. All right, so if we don't cast the sacred ballot, we separate ourselves from our rights, all rights of an American citizen. This is the one connecting medium for a citizen to his nation. If you're not participating, you become no more than belated beasts of burden. There are reasons why certain classes who are more or less independent take no part in politics, since they say they get nothing out of such in the way of material gain. So we have our people, right? A lot of our people don't even want to vote. They don't want to do the census. They don't want to do any of this because they don't see anything coming from it. So I understand that, right? I'm not looking down on that. I understand why our people's doing that. Okay, so that's one faction of our people. And this is no less than a political slave, since they refuse to voice their sentiments at the polls. They don't know that they can control this. They can get the wealth and, you know, the prosperity, the things that they need, you know, by selecting these senators and congressmen and all this stuff. Another form of political slavery, which is more prevalent among the less independent classes, is that of being forced into one of the major parties, and they're bribed, coerced, or otherwise forced to vote the wishes of someone else, regardless of their own minds. That's what you saw the Biden dude doing, regardless of what, you know, empty, fake, fraudulent apology that he gave. He probably didn't even really apologize. He just walked back his words, kind of like what Hillary Clinton did for calling our youth super predators, saying that, oh, I wouldn't have said it like that. Before there can be general relief for the economic good of all forms of political slavery must be abolished, and every citizen must take his part in the affairs of the nation. So you vote, and you have committees where you follow up on these people that you're putting in office, whether it's your own people or someone else. You're following up on them. You're staying on it because you're not just hoping and dreaming that they're going to do what they say they're going to do. And so, like, you know, this is stuff that we must do. And we don't need all of us to come together and hold hands magically and do it. We just need to do it. Because most of us don't vote anyway. And that's not just us, that's people, period. Most people don't vote. So if we're active in doing it, we have power overnight. And then we're not just voting and then hoping the people's going to do it. We're going to follow up. We're going to have our committees. We're going to stay on it. And that's why we need the security companies. You know, we need to have this, that we need to take ourselves seriously, because overnight you're in a position of power. And that's real. And that's why we need to take ourselves seriously. That's also why we need to do the Holy Day, and we need to, you know, work on ourselves and all of these things, because we are greater than we, you know, see ourselves as. And no, we don't even need all of our people to be on it. It doesn't matter, because most people don't vote. When they start seeing our small communities, you know, being successful, some of them that are smart will want to get on it too. Okay? And but that is like, I'm leaving a lot of stuff out, but that in a nutshell is how it's done. There's no magic. Some of the crazy stuff that you'll hear people saying, "Oh, you need to file this, you need to file that, you need to do all this stuff." Like, forget them, because they'll be talking that stuff like 2 decades from now and have nothing to show for it. None of those people are growing their own food, you know, running things. None of them are living prosperous. You know, the reality of it is the same thing everyone else is doing, and that's being organized, aggressive, working together, not doing anything for no reason. We vote together for our own benefit. And then we don't magically think people are gonna do what they're supposed to. We stay on top of it, you know, and we lobby on our behalf. And you know, from, you know, that perspective, you know, politically, that's how it's done. But yeah, I'm glad everybody brought these things up. If anybody has anything else they wanted to ask or share, feel free to speak up. The mic is the floor is open. Okay, so I want to announce without further ado, we're going to go into the closing of the meeting. Brother Jackson Bay, will you please read the additional laws?
Praise Allah. Additional laws for the Moorish Americans by the Prophet Noble Drew Ali. Act 1. Grand sheikhs and governors and heads of all temples or in all businesses, each said temple must be approved by the Prophet Noble Drew Ali before acting upon by any member, let it be finance, property, or any line of life that will cause the member to sacrifice finance, etc., that will cause the support of any group of members. Any former officer that violates these laws is subject to be removed from his office under heavy restrictions, etc., by the Prophet or the Grand Sheikh. Act 2. All members are to attend their added meetings and their public meetings promptly. If a member is found standing around on their meeting period, shall be fined 50 cents on the first case, and on the second will be fined $1, which will go on your emergency fund. If member is working, his monthly dues must be paid, and if he has money in the bank, he must subscribe for as much as he is able to the Moorish Uplifting Fund, because it takes finance to uplift the nation. Act 3. This is the lawful and divine duty of every good member, if he is able to finance, to aid me in saving the nation, and if he does not, he is an enemy to the cause of uplifting his own people, and justice must catch you. Let it be he or she according to love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice, as I have the power invested in my hands, and I have to enforce the law in order to save the nation. Act 4. All members, while up making public speeches, must not use any assertion against the American flag or speak radically against the church or any member of any organized group, because we are to teach love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Act 5. All members must promptly attend their meetings and send their children to Sunday school, and the teacher must confirm himself to the questionnaire, and let every member exercise his 5 senses who is able to do so, because out of your Sunday school come the guiders of the nation. Act 6. With us, all members must proclaim their nationality, and we are teaching our people their nationality and their divine creed, that they may know that they are part and parcel of this said government, and know that they are not Negroes, colored folks, black people, or Ethiopians, because these names were given to slaves by slaveholders in 1779 and lasted until 1865 during the time of slavery. But this is a new era of time now, and all men now must proclaim their free national name to be recognized by the government in which they live and the nations of the earth. This is the reason why Allah, the great God of the universe, ordained Noble Drew Ali, the prophet, to redeem his people from their sinful ways. The Moorish Americans are the descendants of the ancient Moabites who inhabited the northwestern and southwestern shores of Africa. Act 7. All members must promptly attend their meetings and become part and parcel of all uplifting acts of the Moorish Science Temple of America. Members must pay their dues and keep in line with all necessities of the Moorish Science Temple of America. Then you are entitled to the name of faithful, husband, you must support your wife and children. Wife, you must obey your husband and take care of your children and look after the duties of your household. Sons and daughters must obey father and mother and be industrious and become part of the uplifting of fallen humanity. All Moorish Americans must keep their hearts and minds pure with love and their bodies clean with water. This divine covenant is from your holy prophet, Noble Jew Ali, through the guidance of his father God Allah. Islam, Islam, Islam.
Islamism. Thank you, brother. And so in there we're saying we must proclaim our free national name, right? We have to announce ourselves and proclaim so that we can come out of the situation that they had us in where we're, you know, seen and treated as undesirables. Our free national name is American, or more specifically, Moorish American. All right. And that's one of the things we're doing with the census too, as a unit, you know, just announcing who we are. Self-defining, that's extremely important. We're going to go ahead and read the writs of the prophet, Brother Cole Bay, if you would, please.
Islam. I rise giving the highest praise to the Most High, Father God Allah. Honors to our divine prophet, Noble Jew Ali. Honors to all the Muslims on the call. Happy Holy Day, everybody. Prophet warns all Muslims to be read in every meeting. I hereby inform all members that they must end all radical speeches while at work, in their homes and on the streets. We are for peace and not destruction. Stop flashing your cards to Europeans. It causes confusion. Remember, your card is for your salvation. Failure to obey these orders will be of severe consequence. We are for love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. And when these principles are violated, justice must then take its course. Any member or group of members holding malicious feelings towards the temple or the prophet or violate the divine covenant of the Moorish movement will receive the rewards from Allah for their unjust deeds. All true Moors will and must obey the law laid down to them by their prophet. If they lose confidence in their prophet, they should turn in their card and button, cease wearing their turban and fez, and return to the state where I, the prophet, found you. This is a holy and divine movement founded by the prophet, Noble Jew Ali, and the prophet is not right, the temple is not right. The prophet, therefore, is sending out a divine plea to all Moorish Americans that they do their part in protecting the prophet and the temple. This is an everlasting movement founded by the prophet through the will of Allah to redeem his people from their sinful ways. Peace, Noble Jew Ali. To the members of the Moorish Science Temple of America, Islam. This is an instructions from your prophet, Noble Jew Ali. Be faithful unto your forefather divine and national creed, that you will be blessed for your good deeds that you sow in the flesh. Allah is the one that judges the world, and his judgment is on now, but the weak can comprehend it not. The end of times are drawing near, so says Allah to his divine prophet, I, Noble Jew Ali, and that is why many hearts have turned into stone. Many have eyes to see, but cannot see, ears to hear, but cannot hear, lest they would be confined of their sins. These are the trying hours now, dear Moors, and every evil spirit is moving, and they are trying every weak mind to overthrow and drag out the true foundation that has been laid, and to cause confusion in the minds of the ones that do believe. But if you have the true love of Allah and the spirit of your forefathers, you fear not what you hear or see, but will sacrifice the utmost of your very life to protect your movement and your prophet. Watch your enemies, dear Moors. Your enemies are the ones that speak against your prophet and ridicule him to the very lowest, and the ones that speak against your divine and national principles and your temple. Act accordingly, and Allah will bless you for your good works. Peace, your divine prophet, Noble Jew Ali. To be proclaimed at every meeting, Islam. I am glad to know that I have a few faithful Moors among you all, and I desire for them to know the truth and the divine truth. There is a host of jealousy about me and the movement now by the same people of our side of the nation that claim I was a joke and unreal. But now, since they have found out from the government officials and the nations of the earth that this is the only sole foundation that all Asiatics must depend upon for their earthly salvation as American citizens, they are working every scheme that they can to disqualify me so they may take charge of the situation. I have notified all these things to you long ago in the past. It is through the faithful Moors that attribute to the movement and uplifting funds. The ones that pay their divine respects to me and the movement will be remembered. That is why I'm calling upon all faithful Moors to increase their faithfulness to me, your prophet, and your divine Moorish movement. I need finance. I need it badly. Never before have I needed finances so badly as I do at present, so I can shove aside the discord that is facing the nation. It all comes through jealousy because of my fame and nobility. The nations of the world will not recognize the movement without I, the prophet, being head. It has been proven by my works, which I have performed in the past few years. Prophet, Noble Drew Ali, Islam, 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 Islam.
All right, Islamism. Thank you, brother. All right, and just in closing, I want to say that one more time, man. Right there in Acts 6, which the brother just read earlier, where it says, "But this is now era of time, and all excuse me, it's a new era of time now, and all men must proclaim their free national name to be recognized by the government in which they live and the nations of the earth." All right, that's why you see that, you know, stupid stuff that Biden's saying, right, and talking about how he renewed our rights to vote for another 25 years. If we don't do this, we're not truly recognized. We have some conditional privileges and things like that, but, you know, we have to move as a unit. So I'm glad y'all here with us. We're going to do this together. I appreciate you all for coming in. I'm going to go ahead and close. All meetings are to be open and closed promptly according to the Circle 7 and love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Please rise for the closing prayer. You do not need to repeat after me. Just stand up straight, feet together in a 45-degree angle. So your feet should be like a V. Arms up perpendicular. Hold up 2 fingers on the right, 5 on the left. Allah, bind our hearts and minds back to our ancient forefathers, divine creed and principles. We ask this in thy holy name and the 7 Elohim. Amen. Islam, Islam, Islamism. Thank you all for coming in. Appreciate you. We do this again Sunday at 7 p.m. Same phone number, same link. Peace and love.
Peace and love, Morris. Happy Holy Day. Islamism.
Peace and love, Morris. Happy Holy Day.
Peace and love. Happy Holy Day.
Peace and love. Happy Holy Day.
Today's 5:20. Today's 5:22. 5 on the left, 2 on the right. I mean 5 on the left, 2 on the right. Islam.
Peace. Happy Holy Day.